Hey goals, welcome back. Scream 7 is right around the corner, so I thought it'd be fitting to do a ranking of every Ghostface in the franchise. Throughout the years, we have had many a Ghostface, but there are a few standouts and a few that are kind of forgettable. So first up, of course, we have Billy Loomis. This is definitely the most iconic Ghostface reveal, and what I think is really interesting is that when you go back and watch the original Scream, it's kind of obvious that Billy is Ghostface, but I really have to give kudos to Skeet for this performance because the way that he plays Billy is so incredible. There are moments when I rewatch this movie where I'm like, okay, like this is so obvious, he is the killer, but there are moments where you do have a shadow of doubt. And that really just goes to show how well he played this character. And also the motive for Billy it's sick and twisted, but it's really, really smart. And his character, there is an attractiveness to him, the way that he moves, the way that he talks, but underneath it all, there is this subtle creepiness about him. So of course, this is definitely in the S tier. I mean, this is one of the best. Now, the second reveal in the original Scream is Stu Macher, played by Matthew Lillard. Such a fantastic actor. And another great reveal. This is gonna go in the S tier right next to Billy, of course. But the way that Matthew plays this character, it's really playful. It's really funny. I mean, that whole reveal scene at the end of the movie, a lot of that was improvised. This is really one of the best duos in the whole entire franchise. There's not really much else to say about Billy and Stu. I mean, this changed horror. Every single horror movie, especially slashers that came after Scream, you can really see how much they were trying to ride that wave. Now, going on to Scream 2, we have Mickey. So I really like this character's motive, but I just wish that we had more screen time with him. But besides that, I think his reasoning and motive of being Ghostface is really interesting. It definitely is the most psychotic in the franchise, but he wants to have that court case. He wants to have that notoriety as one of the best serial killers. I think Mickey is one of the most deranged ghost faces that we've gotten over the years, so I'm gonna put him in the B tier. Next up is definitely one of my favorites in the franchise, Billy's mom, Mrs. Loomis. So this is such a great reveal because not only was she using Mickey to help her in this revenge plan, but the way that Laurie Metcalf portrays this character is so phenomenal, it's so theatrical, and it's so entertaining. I really can't imagine anyone else playing this role because it's so psychotic and twisted. Now, what's interesting about Mrs. Loomis is that we see her in the film, but she's playing a completely different character, and it kind of comes across as just a side character who is a part of Gail's storyline. And so when it's revealed that she is Ghostface, it really feels like it's coming out of left field. You really don't expect it. I remember the first time I watched this, I mean, it was the last character on my mind. And I think that the motive is just simple but really effective. She's seeking revenge for Billy. And we see this kind of redone in Scream 6, but Scream 2 really does it so well. So for that reason, this is definitely going in the A tier. All right, moving on to Scream 3. This is not my favorite in the franchise, and Roman as Ghostface, I don't know, this one still doesn't sit right with me. Now, my problem with this reveal is it kind of ruins the first Scream because now the motives of Billy and Stu change a bit. Roman being Sydney's brother and seeking revenge on being like the forgotten sibling, it's okay, it just feels a bit lazy to me. And now when I go back and watch Scream 1 and 2, it kind of puts a damper on it because like I said, it changes that storyline. I think I'm gonna have to put this in the C tier. It's not my favorite reveal, and it's not my favorite Scream movie overall. All right, we're going on to my favorite sequel in the franchise, Scream 4. So the first Ghostface reveal in this movie is Charlie. Charlie's character is really interesting. He's this nerdy, horror-obsessed, almost like incel, and we really see that when in the end he kills Kirby, and he basically says to her, now you notice me all this time, all these classes we've had together, now you want to be with me? It's too late. And that is really sick and twisted. Like when we get that reveal, it kind of all makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, of course it's him. And also just Rory Culkin is just so fantastic in this role. So I'm gonna put him in the A tier. But going on to the standout in Scream 4 is Jill. Now, I will never forget when I first saw this movie. I remember I just moved to LA. I was in my studio apartment. I was going through all the Scream movies. First time watching it, I could not believe that it was Jill. Because for the whole entire movie, they're kind of setting it up as she's the next final girl. And the fact that she's related to Sydney, it didn't even cross your mind that she was the one behind all these killings. And what I like about Jill's character is she's not necessarily after revenge. She wants to destroy the original. She wants to be the star. She wants to be the final girl. I mean, when she's telling Sydney about how she wants fans, she doesn't want friends, she doesn't want family, she wants fans. It's such a good motive. And it does kind of harken back to the original where we saw Billy and Stu kind of setting up the scene where they're stabbing each other and they're gonna try and make it look like they were victims as well. And we see Jill do that, but what's so twisted is she's doing it all on her own. So that whole scene where she's running into the wall, she's stabbing herself, she's pulling out her own hair, it is fantastic. This is without a doubt in the S tier. I mean, this is right up there with Billy and Stu. Jill is like my favorite Ghostface. All right, next up is Scream 5. So I have said before, this is not my favorite Scream movie in the franchise. This is definitely on the bottom of my list, but let's start off with Amber. So I actually like Amber as Ghostface a lot more than Richie. And to me, the way that Mikey Madison plays this character, it's really, really deranged and it's really funny. When we get that final scene with Gail and Sydney and Amber, you really see how twisted Amber's character is. And the motive of, you know, being a fan of the Stab movies, wanting to have their own movie, I don't mind that. I will say for Richie's character, that was more predictable than Amber for me. And she was the one to kill Dewey, one of the legacy characters, so I think I'm gonna put her in the B tier. And for Richie, I'm gonna put him in the C tier just because, like I said, I found his reveal to be a bit more predictable. I just don't have much to say about Richie. He's a bit forgettable for me, and like I said, overall, I'm not a huge fan of Scream 5. So in the C tier right next to Roman, feels really fitting. Last but not least, we have Scream 6. Now, this is definitely one of my favorite sequels in the franchise, but I will say I'm not a fan of the reveal in this one. So we find out that the person pulling all the strings is Detective Bailey, and Detective Bailey is the father of Richie from the previous movie. I will say when I saw this in theaters, I didn't really think it was Detective Bailey, especially that he was playing the cop role. I think it's just the fact that this feels very repetitive. Like, we saw this in Scream 2, a family seeking revenge, so I just didn't find this to be exciting or inventive. But I'm gonna put this in the C tier right next to Richie and Roman. Now in the D tier, I think I'm gonna have to do Quinn and Ethan. So Detective Bailey is the father of Quinn and Ethan, but I don't know, there's a part of me that just wishes that he acted alone. I think just having 3 people playing Ghostface, it just feels too much. And then Quinn faking her death and Ethan pretending to be their friend and their roommate, it just felt too over the top. If anything, I think Quinn is a little bit more interesting than Ethan. I really do love everything about Scream 6, but this ending is not my favorite. But Scream 7 comes out this week, and I'm really curious how this ranking is gonna change. I have no idea who's gonna be the killer in Scream 7, but maybe I'll do an updated version of this list because I'm curious how everything's gonna change. But let me know in the comments if your ranking is similar to mine or who your favorite Ghostface is. And if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notifications bell if you want to keep up to date with my weekly videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.